It's Triplett Tech's 50th anniversary. Welcome to County Conversations. I'm Catherine Dooley. On this week's show, we are celebrating Triplett Tech's 50th anniversary with a look back at the school's beginnings and its contributions to our county. Stay with us as we speak with several of the school's past and present principals and see our vocational students in action.
Well, at that time in the 60s, the country was looking for skilled craftspeople, talented young people that could be innovative and creative. And technical education was pushed to the forefront by Congress, and a great deal of money was set aside. And that money was matched with the Triplett funds. And that was the beginning of building area vocational schools all over the country. We have talented young people today that need this type of education, and so often they don't have it in other areas. Dr. J.I. Triplett left the bulk of his estate for a school such as a vocational, technical, agricultural school. He designated this land, this property, as being the site of the school. And we had a superintendent of schools at that time, Dr. W.W. Robertson, who was very innovative and was wanting to put Shenandoah County on the cutting edge of education. His legacy is the 3 present school campuses along with Triplett Tech. He and the school board envisioned a school of this type. In and about 1963 or 1964, the vision was created that with Dr. Triplett's money and matching funds from state and federal funds, that we had sufficient amount of money to build such a school here in Shenandoah County. It was the only school that was privately endowed, and so that took some legal maneuvering to get it through the courts, that the federal and state funds would match these private funds. When it was stated that the Shenandoah County School Board would be in charge of Triplett Tech, then the judges cleared everything. An architect was hired in early '64, and by the beginning of late '64, we broke ground here on this land.
While looking for a principal, the school board discovered they had the right man already.
I guess perhaps it might have been by default. I was the one administrator in the county that had a vocational background and a vocational administrative degree. I don't know whether that had that much impact on it or not, but I was very much interested in the school, and we were planning on building it. I knew the plans, and I talked to Dr. Robertson about being interested in the school.
Dr. Robinson agreed they had the right man for the job. The school hadn't been built yet, but the new principal was involved in every step of the construction.
This building didn't exist, but I served out the year at Central, and then we came here and began to dig footers and put up a building.
But the school wasn't waiting for a building to get started.
We opened a few programs in September of 1965. Auto mechanics was in the old ag shops at the Edinburgh School. The business department was housed at the school board offices in the upper floor. Cosmetology was at the home ec building in Edinburgh. Nursing was all housed at the Shenandoah County Memorial Hospital. As the building began being completed, we added electricity, electronics, masonry, and carpentry. Well, I think this school contributed greatly to the growth of businesses in the county, Chantel being one of them. Many of the students that went through the programs here at Triplett went to Chantel as employees later on. There was a growth spurt in the county.
I was the second principal here at Triplett Tech. I followed Mr. Bill Vaughn, and I worked 1 year with Mr. Bill Vaughn, well, actually a year and a half, I guess, as his assistant principal. I had 27 years in administration here at Triplett Tech, and they were great years. I've been attracted to vocational education ever since I got into education. I taught work co-op. Mr. Vaughn, who was a family friend from Newmarket, was a principal here, and he says, you know, with your background in vocational education and so forth, I'd like for you to come up and be my assistant principal if you think you would be interested. And I went, well, jeepers, that's right down my line. That's the type of thing I like to work with, students who are trying to train for a vocation, to get a skill. I accepted his offer and have never regretted it. As we look at these programs now and what we have, and we talked about trying to figure out what was needed in the community, I was impressed as I made a trip to Triplett Tech that they had a business roundtable, and they were bringing all these business people in, and they were more or less brainstorming. Hey, what is needed? What are we looking for as business people are concerned? And then the school can take that type of information, and I understand they're doing that regularly now. They can take that kind of information to build their curriculum to meet the needs of the community. As I look back over all the years that I was involved with Triplett Tech, and I still am to a certain extent doing scholarship interviews and things like that, it was a tremendous experience. I met a lot of tremendously nice people, had great teachers, and students that were good students. And today, as I walk down the street, I still have students come up to me, might not recognize them anymore, but they'll come up and say, Mr. Moriers, said, I really appreciate what you all did for me when I was in school, that it helped me get started into a career path that I've continued to follow. And that really is the reward that I enjoy the most in looking back over my years. One of the interesting things in comparing where the school was then and where it is now, or where it was when I left in 1999, licensed practical nursing was phased out. I really hated to see that go, but we were not attracting many school-age students. We were attracting mostly postgraduate or adults coming back, and we filled the program every year, but it wasn't with high school students. And the school board said, well, we're not running a postgraduate type program per se, we're running a program for high school youngsters. Another one that was phased out was heating and refrigeration. Somehow we weren't able to attract the students. We always tend to use advisory committees to say, hey, what is needed in the community? What do we need to be training students for? And this was sort of the rationale that we used in trying to determine how we would start a new program and whether or not it would be something the community would accept. But more importantly, is it something that students would be interested in enrolling in? Because sometimes what is really needed in the community as far as jobs, sometimes students didn't find those jobs very practical for them, or they didn't see the glory in them or so forth. So you have to match up what student interests were with what community needs were. And sometimes that was difficult. We communicated a lot with the counselors who were sort of the intermediary between the school and our programs and so forth. Because schools, the youngsters at the high schools, we didn't have direct contact with to get that type of information as to maybe what programs they would like to see. What we did do every year, we would bring like the sophomore classes from all the schools up to tour the facilities, see what programs we had, and sometimes this generated interest in one of the programs we had. Sometimes comments would come back, well, how come you don't have such and such? But also, we brought seventh graders. We brought seventh graders up to the school and let them tour and let them see what was going on, trying to spark a little interest. So we felt seventh grade was a good time that they could say, oh, when I get to be a junior, I can come to Triplett Tech and I can take this course or that course. That was one of the mechanisms that we got some feedback from students that were not already here. That not only was true of trying to find out new programs, it was also true of existing programs that we were offering, trying to show the youngsters, hey, electronics, that's an area that you really need to get into, or electricity, that's really an area you really get into, or masonry. But sometimes masonry, that's too hard of work, And we remember we're talking about 14 and 15-year-old youngsters when we're trying to determine what you're interested in training or your skill levels that you'd like to obtain. So we had sort of an ongoing battle there, and some of the less glamorous programs that were really needed by the community. Since they were less glamorous to the students, sometimes it was difficult to fill those programs. But now the more glamorous ones, as far as especially boys like auto mechanics, girls with cosmetology, those were programs that were much easier to fill than some of the more technical programs.
This right here is the timing chain. We're going to replace it with new sprockets, bolts, and chain. What happens is these chains.
We developed a marketing program, and at that time, marketing was pretty much a hot topic, and we were able to convince the school board and so forth that that program would work in our community, and it did. We brought in a teacher who had a lot of experience, related well to the youngsters, and the program sort of took off and eventually evolved with marketing and so forth, getting then into the computer age and so forth. It evolved into computer programming, and it took a new turn. In fact, that instructor that I hired back before I retired to teach the marketing took that program to where it is today, where they're over there doing cybersecurity, they're doing computer programming, they're doing networking and so forth. That I was proud of at the time, and to this day, I'm still very proud to see that the school here has taken a lead in that very important field. There's a couple instances that really make you feel good as an administrator, like our mechanics. When we had mechanics opening, we hired a teacher who was a good auto mechanic student when he attended Triplett Tech, who went to work in the field, got a lot of experience, came in and did that. Right now, another teacher since that teacher has retired in auto mechanics, another former student has taken over that program. It's really rewarding, and a lot of times I have work that needs to be done at my house. There's lots of former students who have their own business now that I call on to come and do repairs and so forth at my house. And I feel like very comfortable with it because I know they had a good training background here, and I feel like they're somebody that will do good work and I can have a lot of faith in.
It's a strong basket.
That's it. I mean, you got some heavy tools on here.
Just say ground it.
Oh, that's
And then you ground it.
smaller one than that.
Yeah, a little bit tighter we do.
You don't want to break dirt. She said it's pretty good.
Well, word got out that you have some bad stuff on you.
I'm not just walking down the street.
I'm sorry, ma'am. Ma'am,
What are you trying to do? I'm not doing anything.
Well,
I'm not doing anything.
would you be please? Thank you.
I was just walking down the street.
Yeah, okay. You don't have any sharp
You are. This is harassment.
No, it's not, ma'am. This
It
is
has to be.
This is procedure, ma'am. Come on, please.
I have been a career and technical teacher from the get-go. I began my career as a family and consumer science teacher, and for the 20 years of my career, I was at Central High School as a family and consumer science teacher there. So I'm very much into career and technical education. And so when this opportunity came up, I jumped because this is right up my alley. I know career and technical education, and that's what we do in this building. Well, the first thing is we offer a lot of opportunities here. And we get those students from the 3 high schools that aren't always successful or aren't always the stars at their home schools. Our climate here at Triplett Tech is one of acceptance and positivity. We take students from all 3 high schools, from Central, from Strasburg, and from Stonewall, and we bring all of them here, and when they walk through our doors, they're no longer from those 3 schools. They're all Triplett Tech students, and they're all green. And I tell them that. You're not red, you're not blue, and you're not purple. You are green when you enter our walls. And this is a special place. You do special things here, and you are special. But they come to Triplett, and they excel in auto tech, the masonry, top chef in culinary arts. They get that opportunity to shine here at Triplett that they may not have at their home schools. So that's what I love seeing, are those students that don't get that opportunity, but here they're stars. They're all stars, and they do things that they're passionate about. The students love coming to Triplett Tech because of the opportunities that we have here for them to excel in something that they think that they are passionate in, and in most cases, when they get into these classes and they start doing hands-on activities in things that they thought, they think they might like when they start actually doing it, and we're so professional here. We have a professional auto mechanics lab. We have a professional kitchen. So they're actually in a real job simulation area, and when we put them in that environment, they just blossom. We do have our programs here at Triplett are very popular in the home schools, most of them. And if we do have programs that exceed, we do have limitations because the Department of Education says we can only have so many students in certain lab classes. And so we have caps. And when we get that situation where we have more students request a class than we have room, then we send our teachers out and they interview. And they interview the students and make selections based on the interview and based on, attendance, because attendance is important because we need you to be at Triplett every day if you're going to learn the skills that we need you to learn and be successful in that trade. It is very competitive here. Success at your home school as far as are you successful in your classes there? Are you making it? Are you passing so that you can come here? Because remember, there's also graduation requirements that all students have to have. And Triplett requires some extra time that a lot of students have to plan for in their schedule. So it would take some planning to come to Triplett as well. Triplett takes up essentially, 2, 4, 6, 8 blocks out of your high school career. That's 8 classes that you could have at the home school. Instead, you choose to come to Triplett and use that time to pursue something that you're interested in. Most of our programs here at Triplett are 2-year programs. They come in the afternoon as a junior and take the first year, and then they return the second year in the morning as a senior. And we do have some, I can't say that there are many, but we do have some that start out as juniors in the afternoon classes who find that they're enrolled in a class and decide it's not for them. We also have students who don't decide until their senior year that they might like to come to Triplett and try something. And if they do, then we also allow them to come back after they graduate from their home school the following year, and we call them a postgraduate, which means, or post-secondary student, which means that they are back completing just their Triplett courses so that they will be a completer in the program and get their credential in that program.
The programs here at Triplett Tech give you such a good background for going on. Almost all the programs, these technical programs, you had certifications that could be met whether it be an automotive technician or whether it be electrical degree or whatever. But these teachers taught these students these skills that they needed to take these exams and pass them and have certification that was recognized by contractors and businessmen all throughout the county. And our teachers took a lot of pride in making sure that these students had the proper certification and took those certification tests while they actually were still in school and gave them a big head start.
We have found that the interest in Triplett Tech increases in some programs, decreases in others. There are kind of ups and downs in programs depending on the interest students have in that particular class at their, at their home schools. But for the most part, interest, yes, has increased. In fact, I just reviewed the numbers of course requests for the next school year, and Triplett overall, course requests for Triplett for next school year has increased. So we're very solid here for next year in our course offerings and the number of students who will be coming. We offer approximately 12 program areas here at Triplett, and we service in the afternoon approximately 150 and in the morning approximately 120 students. We do talk with lots of local businesses and ask for their input as to what they may need people trained to do in their particular business. Chantel was instrumental in helping us getting our cybersecurity program up and running, because of course cybersecurity is a hot occupation right now, and we will be offering that for students beginning next spring, and then we are going to extend that the following school year to a full year course. So that was something that was a request that came from local business. We've also partnered with Valley Health. Here at Triplett, we offer a nurse aid program as well as healthcare science program, and Valley Health is instrumental in providing us with information and providing us with supplies and materials for our nurse aid lab. So we do partner with lots of local businesses to try to help as resources for our programs.
The community has really benefited from these certifications that these students have. That they don't have to go out and train somebody when they hire one of these students with one of these, whether it's electricity, cosmetology, auto mechanics, or whatever. They know that these students have passed the required test to be certified.
We try to totally make sure that we're offering up-to-date, relevant programs to service our region.
With that certification, so many of these other in these fields, they can go even further and get additional training. But most of that training is in specialization schools and so forth. And this is one of the things that of course, I've always been sold on vocational education. Nothing wrong with a four-year college route and so forth. I obviously went that way, but that is not for everyone. And the technical fields like your computer programming fields and so forth, the four-year college today is not nearly as important overall, maybe as it once was, because what's needed out there in the community with all this cyber security and computer networking and so forth, students can go to specialization schools like Triplett Tech, on to community college and so forth, and get into these fields without going through a four-year program at the college level. Plus, they finish up and they don't have a tremendous debt that they have if they go to and if you're going into education, 5 years of college in most cases.
Nothing else that's broke, and that the motor's turning freely. And visually inspecting this gear right here.
I think
And we can listen.
it was very innovative that the county started a vocational school, there weren't many vocational schools around when this school started. But Mr. Vaughn here again had a lot of input in trying to get a vocational school started. Of course, it helped a whole lot with Dr. Triplett donating money towards building a school. But as this school got started and students started coming here and filtering into the community to fill roles and all different occupations and so forth in the community, it was not only fulfilling a community need, but it was really satisfying the needs of a lot of young people who were needing this kind of training.
The training that the students get here helps them to obtain a better job, a higher paying job, and so the result is that their income level is better, and that helps the economy of the county.
Probably the biggest need that we have at Triplett Tech would be space. We have ideas for new programs we would like to offer, but all of our space in our building right now is taken with our current programs. We feel like they're pretty strong programs, and we would love to expand Triplett. We do have land out the back door toward 81 that we could always expand, but of course, in order to expand the actual building so that we can offer new programs, there has to be money. And that is one of our biggest problems, is the funding to expand Triplett. We would love to put in a diesel program that would partner with our auto mechanics program. We would love to maybe start a plumbing class, welding, HVAC, some of those things we would like to offer here, but because of lack of space, we're not able to do that.
I run into former students all the time, and the sentence I hear most is, "If it had not been for Triplett," and then they tell me their story. So they attribute Triplett to being their leg up in life, and that means a lot to me and to the staff here, because it means that they have had a better life had it not been for Triplett. Not only economically, but lifestyle has been improved by the students that went here and by the surrounding community, because as the students go out, obtain jobs, and become part of the economy, that improves life for all of us. And so I think we have to realize that although we may not be a part of the educational system, or we may not be a student that has gone through the school system here, if we live here, we benefit from the product that the school puts into our community. And that's the biggest thing, I think, that not only Triplett, but the entire school system has benefited our country as well as our county.
Thanks for watching County Conversations. We salute Triplett Tech's first successful 50 years. I'm Catherine Dooley, and I'll see you next time.